This election, it's Star Wars versus Star Trek. I asked a friend to compare the two movies, and he said, well, in Star Wars, it's good versus evil. They can't coexist. One must dominate the other. Star Wars is like that. It's derivative. It borrows from the greatest generation. You have stormtroopers, Nazi stuff, and Japanese costumes on Darth Vader, Japanese stuff. It's an ultimate conflict. However, instead of being mobilization of an entire nation in a patriotic cause, you have a handful of genetically endowed people carrying on the fight, or certainly leading it. There's something called the Force, but only apparently a few people have access to it, or certainly can't only use it. So it's not like a religion. Everyone can participate in a religion of their choice in an equal way. Star Trek. Voting for that kind of future? Well, what is it? It's diverse. And in Star Trek, unfortunately, the enemy is often the Federation or humans. Find out genetically enhanced humans. The latest movie, someone felt abandoned by the Federation and turned on it. You don't really have that quite in Star Wars. Um, in Star Trek, you have a ship, you have the captain, but you also have a crew, 7 people, and they recur over and over. In Star Wars, it's 1 or 2 people at most, and then these kind of bizarre ethnic people fill in from occasionally. Star Trek, it's a meritocracy as opposed to the genetic requirement of Star Wars. They're two different outlooks on life, maybe a future. Um, One, of course, is a human future, the other is a galaxy far, far away, or so it says. One is definitely the simpler worldview, even if the stakes seem to be higher. If the rebellion loses, something happens. And it's all borrowed from the Roman Republic. Um, One man, Caesar, came along and overturned the popularly elected government, which was the Senate, because the people who supported Caesar, the populares, the people, literally, he was a populist leader, literally felt that the Senate had let them down. And Caesar wanted to redistribute land because of the incessant wars of the Republic had caused the middle class to lose its position in the Republic economically. Believe it or not, and he came along and promised reform, and the upper classes said no, and the first Roman Civil War started. And when he won, he gave them amnesty, and then they killed him, and so the second one started under his nephew, Mark Antony. And they went from being a republic to being an empire, just like the Senate was disbanded in Star Wars. And they call that's the Roman Revolution, only it was a revolution in reverse. They went from being a republic and a revolution that began in the name of the people, that was led by one popular man, ended up with an empire. Uh, because nothing came between the Senate and the people to resolve their differences. The interesting thing about the Federation is it's kind of pasty, it's kind of vanilla, it's in some ways too harmonious. And the people who constantly complain about that are the Klingons, but they're on the fringe or in conflict with the Federation. And they complain. They want to be Klingons. They want to be warriors. They want to live a rugged, I'd say manly existence, except that female Klingons do the same thing. But there they are. They represent, in some ways, as other people do, an alternative to the Federation, something more, not barbarous, but something perhaps more primal without all this civilization. And if you look at the Federation, a lot of times it does look like a place that's being run by a bunch of yuppies and upper crust professionals who are perhaps too perfect in their diversity and too perfect in their accomplishments, too perfect in the meritocracy. And yet there they are, the Klingons and others represent an alternative. In Star Wars, there's really no alternatives to choose from. There's just the Jedi and what the fight they are leading, and the dark side, which frankly has no humor about it. Whereas the Klingons in Star Trek, the Klingons have a sense of humor. It can be crude and violent, but it's there. I don't think anybody on the dark side in any of the movies has ever cracked a joke. Can you imagine being a part of that? definitely rooting for the rebellion. Although I don't consider them very funny either. I think Obi-Wan was a little bit funny. Han Solo, I guess, is kind of a wise guy. So they have humor on their side. So in some ways, this election seems to me to be a choice between Star Wars and Star Trek. What kind of future? And on the surface, they have both have equal appeal. Anyway, it's one view. Good luck out there making your decision. Good luck, America.